I now call to order this special session of Mayor and City Council meeting at 1 p.m. Wednesday, August 15th, 2018, here at City Hall Complex Council Chambers. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilman Maldonado, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have discussion items. Number one, discussion relating to a possible water rate discount for Nogales residents that are also members of the Golden Years program. Something that Vice Mayor and myself put on there, considering that we need to discuss some of the things that help benefit our community. So this is not an item that we're voting on. It's just an item to discuss and see where the majority of the council would like how to address it. Vice Mayor, would you like to say something about that?
Yes, I thought it would be good for us to discuss and basically get a direction or some kind of recommendation from staff, or from the council, and then direct staff to maybe look into it and then bring it back before the mayor and the council.
Okay. And basically what we're talking about here, we have the Golden Years program, which we have for our merchants, really, because it's based more to bring, they provide the discounts, we try to bring the people, give them the card, and this includes everybody in the area. Even people from Nogales, Sonora can come over and apply as long as they meet the age requirements. It's for them to come and shop locally so that they can visit the stores that are here locally, and especially the ones that are giving them a discount to go and shop there. Yes, Councilman Barona?
Thank you, man. Is there, Dr. Felix, is there something with this program? It sounds real good. I remember hearing about this before. Did it just die off or something? And is there a coordination with this, with the people of the Golden Years can come in and get a little break on the water rate, so too?
Councilman Barona, it hasn't died off. We have not had many requests in the last 3 months.
I think what happened was, Councilman Barona, it was growing due to the fact that there's been some changes in the front desk and whatnot. Yeah, some of the people knew that before. They knew, especially when you were in my office, Doctor, that anybody, as long as they met the age requirement.
What is the age?
It's 60 that we have for the Golden Year. Okay. So I think most of us could probably benefit from it.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I could elaborate a little bit, I did hear Councilman Hanesian mention that maybe I wasn't very clear with my explanation, but I'll just give you a little bit of what happened with me, Councilman Hanesian. And what happened was, in that last discussion, when we were discussing the freeze, I think we went into a discussion about the discounts. And I even, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard you mention that there were options for our constituents where they could come in and inquire about the discount. Well, when I came to pay the water, I asked one of the girls, I said, what about the discount? Could you give me a little bit of information? Is there an application? And she says, wow. She said, they changed the ordinance, or when the ordinance went into effect with the water rates, they took away the discounts. And I said, who's they? And she said, well, the mayor and the council. And then right away, I knew that there was something wrong, because I don't think that we went along that route. So then what I did, I asked further questions, and then as a matter of fact, one of the girls, I think, realized that I was getting misinformed. So then she went and she talked with Mr. Suarez. And then I again got, I think, the wrong information, and that's when I went with Dr. Felix. Is that correct, Dr. Felix?
Yes, it is.
And then we discussed it, and I don't think that Dr. Felix was in accordance with what was going on. There was misinformation being given. Now, if I'm getting the wrong information, what about the other people that come in? They're getting the wrong information. So then we talked about it. We discussed just making it clear. And not only does it have to be clear with us on the discussions that we have, but it's got to be discussed or it's got to be clear for staff so that they provide the citizens with the correct information, especially with this. So we thought that we would bring it here to the council and we can discuss it a little bit further. Maybe we have our own interpretations, discuss it, give staff a clear directions. Dr. Felix knows a little bit more. Maybe he wants to elaborate even more. And then send some good, clear directions so that we can resolve this.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Yeah, the golden year is that, as far as I remember very well, has absolutely nothing to do with the water rates. It was strictly, like the mayor said,
it doesn't,
it
you're right.
was strictly for the retail market, for the restaurants. That's what it was for. It had absolutely nothing to do with any service by the city. Now, the last time we spoke about it, Dr. Felix, I think you were going to send out when you sent out the water bill, you were going to send out the information. It's not on here. It doesn't tell us here what the qualifications are.
Right.
I know it was, if I believe, and this is just trying to remember the last time I saw it. One of them, the people had to either be on access or they come in with they're on in the housing or something, or they can come in with their income tax form. I've never known anybody that came in with an income tax form, and you had to be, I think, 62. I think 62 or 65.
No, there was no age. There's no age on it.
It wasn't clear on the.
It's based on the economic development.
Mr. Mayor, I have the ordinance and I'll read the pertinent section.
Could we get a copy of that? It should have been included on this.
Absolutely. I could provide a copy to I'll hand this out, but I'll read. It says, low income discount. A residential account shall qualify for a low income discount of 30% upon presenting evidence that the resident is receiving state or federal income, housing or food assistance, or disability or unemployment benefits. If the account serves multiple residential units, the low-income discount shall be applicable in proportion to the number of units unless additional documentation for additional residents is provided. And so in essence, that's the pertinent section with respect to who qualifies for the discount or not. But formerly, the water rate allowed it in essence struck the section that read elderly. So in other words, it used to, I think the confusion lies in the fact that the ordinance formally applied to the elderly. And so now it only applies to those that qualify under that section that I just read, a low-income discount. So I don't know if that provides any clarity. I'll pass this one.
So then, did we change the ordinance not knowing, or
when was the ordinance changed?
Yes.
So in essence, I believe, and it's centered around that there are people who are elderly that are well off and don't need the discount. Okay. Now there are those that are elderly and that are not getting access or welfare, but
need help.
but need help,
That's right.
but yet have no current discount under our existing ordinance. So in order to modify that, we would have to go back to the ordinance and or have some other type of program wherein there is a discount for those that are elderly but don't necessarily meet the welfare, the criteria for welfare.
But something has to be met. You just can't say, just come in and tell us I'm poor. So I mean, that's why that was put in there, because basically the state had already, or somebody else had already decided that these people needed help.
That's
right?
correct, Councilman.
Yeah, but I mean, to change the deal, we just can't say everybody over 65 will get a 30% discount.
Sure.
We
no,
can't say
no.
that.
That'd be a criteria.
That's correct.
Right. So but what would that criteria be? What the people tell you, or what?
My advice,
Come back with something.
Councilman
Come back
Hernandez,
with something.
Councilman Barona, would be exactly that. Have staff consider the criteria that might be appropriate and get back to mayor and council on it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mayor?
Yes,
Thank you, thank you. I'm just, bring some clarity to my thinking here. So then the golden years card, you're going to come back with some criteria so that, because I remember the discussions with the water rates, that the people still had access to come into here to get a discount. So the golden years card, they can use that card to go get discounts from merchants, and they can use that same card based on a certain criteria that you're going to recommend to come over here and say, I need some help to pay my water bill. Am I thinking right, or am I confused?
Yes,
No, that's very
it's a
specific.
small discount. I think Councilman Hennessy, you threw a 30% number out there. That's,
No, I
we're
didn't
not-
throw that out. He threw it out.
No, that has nothing to do with the golden years.
No, the golden years.
The golden years is a
As
small.
far as I know,
it's a
as
small
far as I
discount.
know, everybody that was involved in the golden years, all the merchants, there was the Capons, there was the Brackers, there was a lot of merchants that were involved that signed up for the golden years. I don't believe there's one merchant on there. So whoever's got the golden years card, I don't know where they can go.
Well, they,
Right?
well,
Walmart never hyped
would you
up.
bring one of those cards with the merchants that are available, please?
Mayor, can Dr. Felix answer my question though? Am I, bring clarity to me. I want to know what the golden years card is going, is it for both of these things, one of these things, or two separate things?
The recommendation that Councilman Rojas is making is that the golden year card be a premise to allow for some degree of discount.
Okay.
The second one would be that those on financial need based on income or qualifications that as Mr. Bada listed would also qualify for different.
Right.
Or
I think what I understood when we spoke about this, if they already qualify for the basic needs of financial, in other words, because that's already in place, right? That's the one that's already in place. For the people that have that, that's what they get. They can get that or the other. It's not a combination of combining both of them.
So they either get a discount with the merchant, or they're going to use that to get a discount or help with us with the water rate?
Whatever's established right now, it's already established. And that doesn't have to do anything with the golden year. We're talking about.
That's where I'm confused.
No. Well, see, I think
What is
you confused it a little bit because that wasn't our intention to combine both of them. No,
it's two
separate items.
no, two separate items.
Settle.
All we're trying to do is with the golden years is to give. If you can pass this here, and you can see
Okay,
the
now I'm
companies
confused.
that
So
are.
if I want the golden.
In other words,
card,
we would put the
that's
city
something.
there with these other merchants,
And
and
the
then
discount is
the
another.
amount of
We're
discount they get.
participating.
This is only for the elderly now, for the people that meet the
60
age
years.
60 is what we have.
Okay, but I understand that. Now that I know that it's separate, now tell me, what is going to be the recommendation for the discount for the elderly? What is the definition of elderly? What is the criteria? Is that what you're saying, Mr. That you and Dr. are going to come back with us with a recommendation?
Right.
But that is only to get a discount with the water?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, because I think we need to have some kind of an avenue for people that need a discount with a water rate to come in to get a discount.
And what I'll do, the next time, I'll have copies of these made, Councilman Barona. This, what I did, we got the total of participants we have right now in the program is 110.
In
In the
golden
golden
years.
years, there's 110 participants. The ones that are over the 65 are 93. The ones that are, and that's just to say, you know, actually I should have had 60, but we have it here, and under 65 is 17, because they're all, we didn't put 60 because all of them are over 60. So just to show roughly the age group that we have, over 65 we have 93. We have a lot of people who are born in the 30s, 40s that are participating here. So these are people that need a little relief, no?
Right.
And then we have from Nogales residents 92. From Rio Rico we have 8, and from Sonora we have 10. So the majority are from right here in Nogales. Now the ones outside of Nogales won't be able to participate in the discount for the water because they're not hooked up to the water.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about them.
Right. So we're only worried about her. So then at the last time, when Councilman Genesian brought up this thing, that there was a solution to the concerns of Councilman Rojas for the elderly to come in, that, not the elderly, but the ones that are having financial problems, or that we didn't have anything in place then?
Policy was Mr. Potter passed around.
Yeah,
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, that's in place for the people that have the
It's in
economic.
place right now?
It's not a policy, it's an ordinance. That is
Okay.
the ordinance regarding our water rate
But we
structure.
have no policy.
But there is no policy that that is pertinent to
Seniors.
senior citizens.
Seniors.
We used to, it used to be
They're
part of
new.
the ordinance,
But it was,
but now
but this
the
was taken,
ordinance
so
was
then it
further
was taken
defined.
out. It was taken out in 04,
It was further defined so
a long
that
time ago. Isn't it 04,
2016.
isn't that the year?
16.
16? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
16.
16.
So it was further defined as far as
2
who
years
who the folks that you know are
Just focused
basically
on the indigent.
right.
Yes.
It could be elderly or young.
Councilman, Vice Mayor.
Mayor.
2016.
The other thing, Councilman Varona, is this gives us an opportunity to address the needs of the citizens without necessarily putting us in a bad light with the water rates. We don't have to go into that situation with the freezing and whether it was good or not, or this is a
I
much
prefer
better.
this. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, this is what, but here it says, I'm sorry.
Yes, Councilwoman, go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you. I thought you had, but thank you. Look, Minister Potter, this low-income discount here, this was in place in the ordinance?
That is the ordinance.
Yes, that is the ordinance here.
That's correct.
So then we did have something in place when we were talking about it at the last meeting then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what
That's what I
Councilman
wanted to know.
Genesian said.
And that's, yeah, you're right. I just wanted to make sure. But we have the ordinance to give us the authority, but we haven't developed the policy. Is that what you're saying?
No,
There's
Councilman
not a
Varona.
policy for seniors.
That's what I say. Do we have a policy for low-income senior discount to come in here?
Well,
all
according to the ordinance. we do.
Well, yeah, I know this, but our policy, do we have a policy? This is an ordinance. You were talking that you're going to come back and recommend the policy?
We were talking about either
It would be an amendment to the ordinance.
Councilman Varona, thank you very much. It would be an amendment to that ordinance.
Okay, so that's what we need.
That's
But the
Right.
amendment would be what, to add the age deal?
We don't know yet.
Because
They're
we
gonna
took
come
off
back.
the,
Okay.
Yeah,
I
they're
thought it was-
gonna come back.
So it's not a policy like you said. It's an amendment to the ordinance.
we would need to come
Okay.
back with you with
Now I understand. But
numbers.
I agree with you. We need to provide assistance, not in changing our rates, but let's provide assistance like this, where they can come in and just do it like that. I don't have any problem with this. It's a good idea.
I agree. I think we should help you.
But again, it's two separate, complete separate issues. The water deal and the golden years card are two complete, and also I would recommend Dr. Felix to check with these companies. I don't know, I've never gotten the card or whatever, right? Maybe I should. if they're gonna give me 10% off at Home Depot,
Sure.
I think I should have the card, right? But are all those companies still on the golden years? I mean, I get
They're right
literature,
here.
I get literature from, yeah, but how old is that?
This is current. This I did in
So
my,
so
in
now,
my-
if
in
I
this
get the golden
administration.
cards, if I get the golden cards year, once we get the age limit on it, I would get a 10% discount at Home Depot? I mean, I get literature and emails
Well,
every day
you get
from Home Depot. They've never mentioned this to me.
you get all different. You get McDonald's 10%, Enterprise 10%,
Safeway.
David's Western Wear, Safeway 10%. Finitos has a Finito gratis
Beginning of the
the
month.
first day of each month. IHOP gives you 15% discount.
How about DS Towing?
Kentucky Fried Chicken, 10% steak gives you 20%.
Yes, towing 20.
So
20, eh?
even Garrett Supermarket gives you 10%.
Is it still?
Oh, Diaz. Oh my goodness, now I know who to call. 20%.
There's no Home Depot.
No, but
I
I'm
thought I saw
gonna
Home Depot.
continue. See, I'm gonna continue to reach out to different businesses to add them on.
there.
And,
That would
and
be
see
good.
and that's to increase it, and it's going to be open, like I said, for the whole community, for the whole area, as long as they meet the age requirement. Now, if the city of Nogales puts 10% there discount water for senior citizens, which would have the card, well, that only applies for the ones that have a bill that are connected to the city. You're not going to give that to the people in Rio Rico, in Sonora, or anywhere else.
Well, what percentage of the people in Nogales are over 65 that have a house or are renting?
That we would
Are we
have
talking
to.
about 20%?
That's what we would have to do. But right now, even with the program the way we have it, we have, like I said, a total of 92 residents from Nogales. It might increase double or whatever on as we add more. But it's not everybody's going to come over.
Yeah. But the concept is what we're in agreement with. That's what we need. And they're going to come back with an amendment so we can implement it.
That's right.
We're all in favor of it. We all agree with that.
That's why we put. We
Yeah.
wanted to talk
Oh,
about
we
it.
agree with it.
Well, we agree basically for them to bring us something so we
Yeah.
can look
And
at
then
it.
then we vote on it. That's-
Right. Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
agree on the concept
bring-
that's here
yeah,
and
and
come back with a
There
recommendation.
you go.
Yeah.
Just to have something to discuss.
No problem.
Okay, so I guess, are we in agreement then to let, I guess that all of us are pretty much in agreement to kind of look into that
Gonna make sure that
and then
the-
bring something to the council.
Mr. Mayor?
that we can act on.
No city council member should be able to get the golden ticket.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I'm gonna turn my $51 a month wages here.
I
Mr. Mayor?
just want the water discount. I don't need that.
Yes, Vice
Mr.
Mayor.
Mayor?
Why, I'll take the water.
The only thing I would like from Dr. Felix is, could you give us a timeline? Would it be, could you do this by the September meeting? How long, by September the 5th? It shouldn't be that.
September would be fine.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Felix.
Okay, so now that we, any other comments or questions really? Seeing none, we're gonna go ahead and go to number 4, liquor licenses. And we have number 1, consideration and possible action of liquor license 2018-8, approval of recommendation of the issuance of a special event liquor license application for Ms. Vicky Lee Barden for a fundraiser September 22nd and 23rd, 2018. Administration?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
Open for discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
just
Councilman.
a question for staff. There's another item on the agenda where we're going to enter an agreement to lease out the field for the baseball games. And just a question on number 1 would be if we're renting out the stadium to another organization, and then how does this work where we're giving use of the stadium for this fundraising event? Should we have to address that in that MOU, or how is that covered? And the second part is the liability. Who is going to cover the liability under that? Would it be the organization that's running the field, or is it going to be the Boys and Girls Club?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Lucero, if you will allow me to address that particular issue during the consideration and of the MOU, but I'll certainly respond to it at that point, if it's all right with you.
And I won't vote for it.
Oh, are you talking about fundraiser September 22nd and 23rd? So this is different from the. This isn't for the Boys and Girls Club, is it?
Well, it says War Memorial Park there.
Yeah, but it's,
I'm sorry.
can I clarify?
Yep. Yes.
The bottom one is, we're trying to do a deal with the Mexican baseball organization, Fiesta Mexican Baseball Fiesta, which is the same organization that does the games from with the teams, just like we did last year. That come down to Nogales, and then they'll have the big weekend up in Tucson before they start their leagues over there. We've had previous meetings with them. This year they want to come down to play 3 days here in Nogales, and with the same instance. Last year we helped out the Boys and Girls Club. This really helped them out with the roof and all that. And then but this year they want 3, and they offered to do the same helping out the organizations and all that controlled by us. So it's, you know.
So this is for 1 day for the
It's
Boys and
actually-
Girls Club to sell liquor at Memorial Park for the baseball game.
Yes,
correct?
and actually it's 3 days because
3
it's
days. 3 days.
it's going to be Saturday, 22nd of September, Sunday the 23rd, and then the other one is on the 28th of Friday.
I have a question here on the concessions, but Mr. Parra, but am I getting off target here? Because or do I wait for the MOU?
That's my question, is if we're giving the field basically to this one organization, we're then turn around and getting a liquor license approval for the same facility. So it's just, I guess, do you address that in the agreement that you know what I'm saying?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Lucero, so allow me to address the question that you have pertinent to the events and the liability. So this is a nonprofit, and they will be benefiting from the sales of liquor at that particular during those baseball games.
Does the insurance cover
The
us?
insurance
Cover us.
The insurance covers us during those, during that event. So
Whose insurance? The city's insurance?
the city of Nogales, correct.
They're covering for the baseball team if anybody gets hurt,
Not the baseball team.
but if anybody gets hurt in the stands or there's a drinking problem, our insurance will cover that? Are you sure? I mean,
That's
No,
what
I've
I'm
looked at
wondering.
insurance, I've never seen
No, my
that.
question was, Mr. Parra, excuse me. Usually we have the person who's doing the liquor take out an insurance policy that also indemnifies the sponsoring organization, and this one is City of Nogales. So they should take out a policy that's enough to cover us in case there is some kind of litigation.
And that's what I was getting at, is the other entity that's taking the control of the field or the park for that 2-week period, the Mexican League, they're providing insurance for use for the field, but that's why I was questioning where the liability was on the liquor side.
We just want, and I concur with that. We just want, I don't think the sponsors, the Mexican League per se, want to get involved in any kind of litigation with their insurance policy if they don't have anything to do with it, but just by playing a baseball game. And I have a responsibility, like all of us here. We don't want to get into a litigation. We want to help out, like Jorgito says right here. We want to help out,
Jorge.
but we want to make sure that we're also covered legally in case. If there's no, everything goes fine, fine. But we have an obligation to protect the city, and the only thing that I can say is you guys have to say that they have to take out an insurance policy that's enough to cover us in case something goes wrong. In case somebody had a little bit too much to drink and rolls down the stairs at the stadium. The baseball team doesn't want to get involved in that. But, you know, people, when they sue, they look at the people with big pockets. You know that. And if it means the baseball, they're going to go after the baseball. If it means the city, they're going to go. So just make sure we have enough coverage, that's all.
Mayor.
Now,
Councilman, look,
okay, were you done then?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. Did you have a comment to say?
No,
No?
I understand the comments and the concerns. I believe it's pertinent it's incumbent on us to make sure that those
That's it. That's what we're
those
asking for, to
policies are in
make sure.
place, and that we make sure that that the liability is applicable to the entity that is profiting from the matter.
That's exactly.
From the
Mr.
event.
Mayor?
Yes, Vice Chairman.
Councilman Maldonado, how was it handled last year? Was it at a much a lower scale than it is now? Is it a bigger scale now, more teams, more responsibility? Is there a big difference between last year and this year?
I think at the scale with the Mexican baseball organization, it's the same. Basically, you know, they opened up to us bringing in the, you know, the nonprofit organizations, the high school team will sell the waters and stuff like that. Obviously, they won't do the liquor and stuff like that. But the only bigger scale is now that we have 3 games instead of 1.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
But it shouldn't be any problem.
It should not
don't-
be
yeah.
any issues.
That's right. Mayor, we don't want to hamper this, because this is a good thing. But we just want to make sure that the city of Nogales has clear legal protection on this matter. That's all we're asking for. That's all.
So, along those lines, you're saying we're gonna have it.
Mr. Mayor, so with respect to the particular question on whether the Boys and Girls Club has a policy in place that makes them responsible for any profit-making activity that they undertake, such as sale of liquor at a ballpark that belongs to the city, I will review the policies that they have and provide I'll get back to the council on that, on exactly what coverage will be provided by them as they undertake this activity.
Because this isn't, excuse me, Mayor, this isn't an activity like the 4th of July, where we ourselves assume the entire responsibility. It's our activity, but this is not our activity. And I don't want to get caught in one freak accident and we're in a whirlwind for the next 3 to 4 years on something like this. Just make sure that we're protected, that's all.
Mayor, Councilman Barona, I'll check with the State Department of Liquor Control and see what the parameters are that they establish for activities like this.
Okay, we just want to make sure that we're organized, because I want to make sure the Boys and Girls Club understand what their responsibilities are, and something to go wrong, and we don't want to have bad relations with the baseball team, and they get caught up with this because we didn't do our legal due diligence. That's all.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I think the liquor board, Dr. Felix, you know, I dealt with the liquor board quite a lot, and they don't. They suggest you have insurance, right? Most places will demand that you have it, but I think it's left up, you know, there is nothing there that says you have to have a policy for $2 million. Or at least it didn't before, right? It was left up to everybody there. I can't remember that the city of Nogales ever sent out a letter saying if you have a liquor license, you have to have a $2 million policy either, right? The federal government doesn't get involved, so I don't know. just thinking on the Boys and Girls Club and their insurance, you know, it'd be very hard pressed for me to say that they have liquor coverage. I mean, you know, I couldn't believe that we would, right? So I think it'd be very interesting to find out.
Or they might have the coverage, but the amount in defense is like $1 million, and $1 million is not going to help us at all.
Better than nothing.
Well, yeah, but with suits like this, they go into the millions and millions of dollars.
Mr. Mayor, there's a section, and I know we weren't going to get into the memorandum of understanding relating to the arrangement for the use of the ballpark, but since this has become an issue or a concern by council, I'd like to just read section 2. City and Mexican Baseball Fiesta will provide its own appropriate liability insurance coverages and will mutually indemnify each other from any liability damages and costs attributable to the acts or omissions of the respective employees, agents, or volunteers.
And that's why I was asking, will their coverage cover the Boys and Girls Club? That was the question that I originally started with.
Right.
We'll research it, please.
We will.
You're interpreting the
We will research it and
theme
provide
is
a
theme is
response to
provide-
Mayor and Council
Well,
in writing.
yeah, well, you can work that out with Dr. Felix. The theme that we're trying to get across is, please make sure that we're protected, because we don't want to get involved in this kind of thing for trying to do a good thing, and we don't want to catch any one of the baseball teams off guard that they're faced with a lawsuit. That's not what they came to Nogales for either. So just make sure everything is well explained. That's all we ask for. You should be able to take care of that without coming back to us.
Councilman Lucero.
Can we do it under an amendment provided that adequate insurance is provided to indemnify the city?
Is this? Are we still on the Boys and Girls Club
Yes.
issue?
Yeah. So if the motion is to approve, and I say if we just add it to the motion that provided that adequate insurance is provided to indemnify the city.
I'll second that.
That's a motion to second.
It's an amendment to the motion.
Okay,
But I guess the question was,
sorry.
Who made the
if he makes,
motion?
Who made the? I don't think there was a motion.
There was a motion that started
Was
the
there a motion,
debate,
Matthew?
and then I'm saying as a friendly amendment, can we say
that's a
provided that adequate insurance is provided to indemnify the city? So that would be added to the main motion of approval of the,
Just to, Mayor,
Yes,
please,
Mhm.
Councilman Lucero, define adequate, because if we leave it up to staff, adequate might be $1 million. Is there something there? Or adequate means at the direction of the staff?
well, they would have to go back to our insurance company and see what is appropriate and what our insurance company would want, right?
All right, I just want to make clear, I don't want to come back, that word adequate needs to mean some clarity.
Yeah. I mean, the way I understand, I would go back to our insurance carrier and say, what kind of policy do we need? And they'll tell you this is what we need to be indemnified, and
And
that's,
that's adequate.
yeah.
Mhm. And I second it, right?
Yes,
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Chen.
I think, see, this is for the 22nd and 23rd of September. I think we need, what, is 2 weeks minimum for a liquor license application? Used to be, I don't know what it is now. Does anybody know?
I'm not sure, Councilman.
Is it a month or is it, because here we're looking at a month, right?
Right now, yeah.
Is it a month or,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's why I was trying to avoid not having to come back if they can come up with the insurance.
I see Councilman Hennessy's point. We can still go ahead and approve the liquor license. That does, and even if it's given to them, if you say you don't have enough insurance, they're not going to use the liquor license at War Memorial Park because we won't have an agreement with them. But I don't want it to work in reverse, that we are the bad people because we delayed it and now they can't get the liquor license.
Yeah, yes, Councilman.
Just to clarify, we don't approve the liquor license. We
Right.
give a recommendation. So
Right.
the
Or
liquor,
no recommendation.
well, yeah, the liquor license board will issue the
Right.
license,
But I just-
regardless of what our recommendation is.
You're right, I understand that, but I just want to make sure that,
The
That
liability
this
will
process-
still be ours.
right, let the process go through with the liquor license, let them, if they can't meet that agreement, even if they got the liquor license, they can't use it at War Memorial Park.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Lucero, Councilman Barona. So, there's a motion on the floor for an approval contingent on the insurance requirements be met as per our insurance, and the use of that liquor license is contingent on that proper insurance being in place.
Adequate.
I believe that's the motion. Is that correct, Councilman Lucero?
No.
Is that the motion you're talking about, or the amended motion?
That's the amended motion by Councilman Lucero.
Okay.
But the original motion did not take, the original motion did not say option 1, or option 2, or option 3. The original motion was just, we were discussing agenda item such and such and such.
That's a motion to
So
approve.
we went ahead and said, yes, now we have to decide what the option is.
I'm a little confused, Councilman Hanesian. So, if I may, who made the original motion?
No,
was making it
no, the
right
mayor
now.
read.
Yeah, I
the mayor
read the
Right.
original motion.
I made a motion, but nowhere in what the mayor said was taking option number 1. See, we have 3 options.
The original motion was to approve.
Excuse me, if I
4-1.
heard right, Mr. Lucero, that's what he's saying, to approve with a condition that
Oh,
insurance.
okay, the original motion did say
He did it.
taking option number 1 to approve,
Yes.
or
That
just
Well,
said
he mentioned
approve.
that to approve with a condition, so that's action
So
number
it
1.
would legitimately specify option 1.
The minute he said
Yes.
approve, that's option number 1.
That was it.
With the amendment.
Now he's amending that motion, said option number 1.
Mr. Para,
Yeah.
were we talking about the main motion or the amended motion? Because I just want to make sure that you're clear on the amended motion, the word adequate, okay?
Right, there's been a clarification of the word adequate on the amended motion.
As long as you understand.
And so, but I'm still a little confused with respect to the options as to whether an option was considered in that amended motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Uh,
When the item was introduced, it was, the motion and second came from that side over there. I don't know who made the motion and second. So there was a motion
I
and second
seconded
to
it.
approve it.
Did I second it?
Well,
Ricky?
Mr. Novak
Well,
and
I think
Mr.
to approve
they-
it, to approve
Because-
which one? Like,
Joseph.
The correct deal should have been to
Joe
approve option number 1. I think
Well,
is
we
what something
we
brought up.
make the motion
Because we could,
to
we
approve
could
the
approve, we could
recommendation.
approve option number 2, or we could approve option number 3.
No, because option number 2 would be to disapprove.
Yeah.
We
Well,
make
that's
the
the
motion
option
to
we're
approve.
approving.
To approve.
But that's the option we would be approving. Anyway,
Well, okay,
Mr.
so let's
Parra,
clear it up
I
then.
think- I
Let's
think
clear it
Mr.
up.
Parra
and-
needs to clear it up if
Yeah.
he can.
All right, I will. Thank you,
Well,
Councilman
well, let's
Hanesian.
clear it up and make the motion with its amendment, and then we can.
I believe the motion was made by Councilman Hanesian
And
Yes.
second by Mr.
and
Diaz.
seconded by Mr. Diaz
Right.
Then the amendment comes
to
Mr.
approve,
Lucero.
Lucero.
approve the action item 1
And I second.
with option number 1.
But option, but
The
we
amended
didn't
one.
say
The
that.
amended
Just-
one.
Okay,
If
well,
was that assumed, then we're just assuming it's option.
No,
number
but
one.
I'm asking you, Councilman Hanesian, whether that was your motion, whether you
Yeah,
wanted to
that
include
would
option
have been,
1.
my motion would have been, after discussion, would have been to approve option number 1.
okay.
Right, okay, correct. So then,
So who made the second?
so then there was a second by
Joel
Councilman
for the
Diaz. Now there
motion.
was an amendment by
Councilman
Councilman
Diaz.
Lucero,
Seconded by Mr. Councilman Rojas.
seconded by Councilman Rojas.
Correct.
So now that motion with the amendment is on the floor for the vote, Mr. Mayor.
But we also need to make sure Mr. Diaz states that that his motion, his second on that option is valid, because that's what he's seconding.
For option
Mr. Mayor,
one.
if I may,
Yeah.
so, but the fact that Councilman Lucero amended the motion and there's no,
And then we have-
and
So
there's
the
no
amended option
objection.
number 1.
Amended option number 1, and there's no, there is no, and Councilman Diaz allowed that amendment, then,
So let's-
in essence, there has been a motion made, and there is a proper second to it, and a vote is permitted at this time.
Okay, so we'll call for the question.
So are we voting, Mayor?
Amendment.
We're voting on the amended motion right now, right? That's correct?
That's correct.
On the amended motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Seeing none? That amended motion carried.
Now we're back to the
Now
main.
we're back to the main motion. So, you want to state it again, as you said it, going on that, well, the main motion is to approve option number 1. And we'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving option number 1 signify by saying aye.
As amended.
As amended. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Seeing none? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, thank you for getting everything clarified. I hope the next one is not as difficult. So we're going to number 2. And number 2,
Same thing.
we're gonna go ahead.
Different date.
Different date, that's 28th. And that'll be another separate function.
Is that baseball too?
Yes.
Same thing.
Another 3 days.
And we're gonna go again. We're gonna go ahead and read that. Number 2, consideration and possible action of liquor license 2018-9, approval of recommendation of the issuance of a special event liquor license application for Miss Vicki Lee Barden for a fundraiser September 28, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve option number 1?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
And
Option number 1.
for option number 1, do we have a second on option number 1?
Second with the same conditions as
And-
the first liquor license approval.
Okay, Ms. Lee, would you like to state that motion then as making the motion of option number 1 with the same conditions of amending that?
Is that it, or do we vote on his?
Councilman Hennessy, if you will, I believe we're under discussion, correct, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're
Okay,
just
and
barely,
option-
we're
and
just
option
getting,
number
well, no,
one-
we're barely getting the motion across so we can open it for discussion.
All right. So if we're getting the motion correct, Mr. Hennessy, Mr. Councilman Hennessy, you'll consider your motion to address the contingencies to have the proper insurance be in place. I believe there is a consideration by Councilman Lucero to second that motion. Is that your motion?
Yes, that would be my motion.
Okay, now we have a second, now it's open for discussion. Okay, anybody want to say any comments?
We already said enough,
We
55
already said
minutes on
enough.
liquor license.
Good, thank you. So we're going to call for the question. All those that want to approve option number 1 with the amendment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Okay. Now we go to orders. Number 1, consideration and possible action of order 2018-08-052, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for joint funding of the SR 189 improvement project. Do I have a motion to
So
approve?
moved, Mayor.
I have a motion to approve, second by Mr. Lucero. Open for discussion.
No,
Is that,
it's been a long road, thoroughly vetted.
you want,
Is
okay?
the contract we're signing is the same contract that the county signed?
I don't have the county's contract at hand.
It should be
Exactly
a-
the same.
Belly.
Is it identical?
Except for.
And that was who was the attorney that wrote that agreement up? Was it ADOT's
ADOT.
attorney, or was it the county attorneys, or who?
No, the ADOT. Now, the county offered an amendment on who harmed us, and then they discussed it, and the county pulled it. That's why we held off on bringing it to the council. We met with the county and agreed that, as presented, is what, they would vote for it. In fact, they voted on it this morning, and it's the same language as we have here.
Okay, they voted on this morning. And on reading here, it states that basically they're looking for 400,000 from the city, 400,000 from the county. for 15 years. If they don't meet the 400,000, they want 6 million altogether. But if within the 15 years they don't get 400,000 as an average and only get 5 million, that's it. We're not coming up with any more money. I want this clarified because a lot of us, I don't think, are going to be here in 15 years. I just want to make sure that it does get on the record that that's exactly what it was. And so any future city attorney or city manager will acknowledge, will understand that immediately.
Councilman Hanesian, if I may address two of the issues or concerns you've raised. First of all, with respect to the indemnification clause that there were concerns with both by the county as well as my office, we requested that that be stricken, and so it.
What be stricken?
Or not be stricken, I'm sorry, that particular should be addressed within the agreement, and it was. In essence, holding us responsible, that was stricken from the original contract they had sent us. And we went back and forth with that, but they conceded on that point. The other issue you've raised is with respect to Section B of the agreement under scope of work. And in essence, it states that if the fee collections and withholdings identified in paragraph 2(1)(a) exceed the $6 million required under this agreement prior to the end of the term of the agreement, the state will resume normal distribution of fees pursuant to ARS 281105. And then under Part 2, there's also the paragraph A discusses the second issue that you or concern that you raised with respect to the amounts being I believe that the amounts that you just mentioned.
6 million is
correct.
So if they were to, let's say they were to raise more than 400,000 a year as an average, and they reached in 10 years, they reached the 6 million, that's where the deal with the agreement would stop right there.
Right. That's correct.
But, Mr. Parra, Mr. Mayor, I just want to make clarity here for the future. If we don't contribute $6 million at the end of the 15th year, we have to pay them the $6 million.
No, that's not what it says.
Based on the revenue.
It will be based on the revenues.
No, I understand that. So yours, here again, my simple view of what I read there is at the end of the, they want their money. And if it takes a little bit longer than the 15 years.
15. No.
Are you sure, Mr. Parra, that? Because
So
my talks with them have always been that it takes a little bit longer because we don't have the revenues coming. I mean, there can be no revenues, and what are they going to say? We only collected $1 million. They're going to wipe out $5 million themselves. How are they going to pay for the bridge?
Well, we're getting 50%.
No, I know.
If it goes to zero, well, 50% of zero is pretty much going to be zero to them.
I just want to make.
I'll read it again, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I mean, Councilman Barone.
Okay.
If fee collections and withholdings identified in paragraph 2(1)(a) exceed the $6 million required under this agreement prior to the end of the term of the agreement,
It is.
the state will resume normal distribution of the fees
Right.
pursuant to 1105 and cease withholding 50% of those collections.
If it's paid in 10 years,
It's
Done.
over.
fine.
If
But
at
if
the
it's
end of
my,
it,
But even if it's not paid,
in 15 years,
In
if it's
15
not paid,
years.
they'll say that they'll eat it.
they'll eat it.
yes.
We come back to
Just as long as
50%.
that's on the record. I just don't want to have any problems. That's your
That-
interpretation.
absolutely.
That's what I want to put
That's
on
not
the
what I got out of them, because if the county comes out short 3 and we come out short 3, that $6 million that they have to find, just doesn't make business sense to me. But if that's how you interpret it, as long as we have it on the record, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Councilman Barone.
Right.
That's,
Any other
that's it.
comments or
You can use your golden card.
questions?
We'll let the state our golden card.
In 15
Okay.
more years.
Seeing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Going to number 2, consideration and possible action of order 2018-08-053, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a memorandum of understanding with the Mexican Baseball Fiesta, LLC, regarding the use of War Memorial Park for preseason exhibition professional baseball games. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Open for discussion? Yes, Councilman Barone.
I just want to make sure I'm correct on this. Please don't misinterpret my comments to try and damper. I'm just asking. If we're going to pay for the overtime of the police, and we're going to lend the facility at no cost, so we can bring in this professional baseball into our community, I don't have a problem with it, but I do want to make sure when I read it there that you're going to have the Boys and Girls Club there for concessions, and it's 3 days, the league for concessions and all that, and I would like the council to consider the soccer teams to come in and put a little something for fundraising for them though too. So I just want to make sure that staff is aware of that. I can make an amendment to the motion, but I think we're all agreed that the soccer team can set up those 3 days for concessions.
And the basketball
And the
team?
basketball was my question.
What about the basketball team?
Mr. Mayor?
The bicycle?
I'm into the basketball.
Yes, we
How
have,
about the bicycle?
okay, thank you for your comment. Thank you, Dr.
But the bicycle
Thank you,
program.
Councilman Barona. We have,
Ciclo.
I'm sorry,
City-
Mr. Mayor, Councilman,
Ciclo.
I would just like to, I don't know if the mayor and council are aware of this,
Yes, sir.
but I would like to
Anybody that's interested?
place them on notice that there's 2 distinguished gentlemen that are present in the audience today. Mr. Federer, who formerly owned the Tucson Toros, is present. I believe I pronounced his name correctly. Fader. Thank you, sir. And also present is the representative and founder and partner of Mexican Baseball Fiesta, Mr. Francisco Gomez, who's here. And so if the board, and mayor and board have any questions of Mr. Feeder, and as well as Mr. Gomez, perhaps you can ask questions of them during the discussion.
Peter? Yeah, Mr. Gomez, when you play in Tucson, I don't know if you play at Corbett or Keno?
TEP.
We play at Keno Stadium.
Keno Stadium.
This will be our 8th year. 1 year we played at high school.
And does the Pima County Board of Supervisors charge you for the a lease for that, or are they?
Councilman Barona?
Yes.
Should we have Mr. Fear come up?
Yes, you're right, Mayor. I'm sorry. You're
You'd like to
absolutely
come up
right.
here so that you can just use the microphone up here.
They're both.
And then you can pronounce your name to all of us.
It's just like, just remember, I'm fading away, or Darth Vader. So it's Fader. Yeah, so no big deal. My name's been mispronounced my whole life. So no, yes, the answer to your question is yes, we do pay lease. But our attendance is for the 4 days, it's in excess of 15,000 people. On the Saturday night last year, we had almost 7,000 people at the game. So it's all part of splits. You know, we split concessions. We receive a percentage of concessions there. Here, we'll receive no concessions.
Okay, so it's a balance is out there.
It is.
In
No,
your
that's
point
well,
of perspective.
the important thing. And Jorge, excuse me for using your first name, but
Up.
and the mayor, they were both out last year. We just, quite honestly, we just need to make it bigger.
Okay.
And that's why we're trying to make this more formal. We're trying to get an earlier start. We're going to encourage some sponsors to be involved and help publicize it. We have a press conference at 2:30 today that we're going to be able to answer anything with the media. But Francisco's been the big guy in dealing with Nogales and with the mayor and Jorge. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be our 8th year in Tucson, but
our idea is to have, in the past we had this Mexican Baseball Fiesta in Nogales, Sonora. Since last year, talking to the mayor, Jorge, we want to have this fiesta every year here in Nogales. Maybe 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, like this is the case of this year. And establish that with the community. We believe both Nogales are in the same region and towns around the Nogales area, and make it bigger every year, and get the community. That's why we when we talk about Boys and Girls Club, baseball, soccer, whoever sports is related, we want to have, you guys will have the decision, but we want to have that split with the city, and you will decide who is going for. Of course, sports will be ideal, but we don't put conditions on who is going to be making profit of.
And I think
of
the big thing this year is the fact that it's 3 days, and as it's going to wind up, it's a Friday and a Saturday night. So Saturday and Sunday. So it's even going to be better days than we've had in the past. That'll encourage. And we're going to promote. Francisco is going to go over to the Nogales Sonora side and encourage people to come over. We want them to spend money in Nogales, Arizona, and their money's all the same color.
That's right.
Last time I remembered. So
Because that's where they're going to come from. It's going to be.
We believe there'll be a lot. We also play in Douglas, and in Douglas, we were told by the city of Douglas that 60% or more come from Agua Prieta. That's fine. I mean, but quite honestly, the quality of these teams, I mean, for you guys that aren't really familiar with the Liga Mexicana del Pacifico, it is Major League Baseball in Mexico. No different than the Diamondbacks, and New York Yankees. Hermosillo has, most of the league has all their games on TV in Mexico. We also have games in the States on Telemax.
Last year we had the game in TV, Telemax for Nogales also, and that's the plan this year. Probably 2 of the 3 games will have TV, Telemax broadcast the games.
But it's important from our standpoint in the commitment we make to the teams. Again, these are Major League Baseball teams. The condition of the field is really important, and that's been part of the discussion. So.
The field is very nice, right?
Very nice.
And that's the,
What'd you say?
Last year?
No, this
Am I
year.
answering it this year or last
Have you
year?
looked at it?
and
I have not.
Councilman,
Have you looked at it this year?
Yes.
Okay, so there's your answer.
and that is the point of making this agreement, talking with Parks and Rec and to be ready every year, and Parks and Rec could also do work on the field, maintenance on the field, to have it in better conditions for this time period. And we had, that's why it says the last 2 weeks of September, first week of October, which is the time frame when these teams come about into the states and do their.
How many seats? How many people in the stadium?
On the stadium, I think we're
2,000.
Around 2,000.
2,000.
Because it's our goal to have sold-out games every day. We're going to put more of an energy in. Francisco, we've got 2 people that are going to come down here. We'll be down here for the first weekend. But last year, a lot of things, I'm not going to get into them, but a lot of things fell through right at the end. And that set us back. So...
Hey, I picked that up.
No, he didn't. No question.
Turn around.
That's why we're here.
But that's the importance of us having good ticket outlets. And that'll be something we facilitate, that people could buy tickets on both sides of the border. Last year, literally, Jorge, a day before, maybe 2 days before is when they could buy the tickets. That won't be the case this year. There'll be at least 2 weeks.
And
I was just, Mr. Bachelier, do you have any comments to say about how the field's going, or anything that you'd like to add? Everything's okay? Everything's going as planned? Okay, I just wanted to check.
And just adding on our idea is to have economic impact in Nogales, using hotels, using restaurants, and then having people from the other side of the border coming.
And the great entertainment. the great love of watching a good baseball game.
To give you an idea, the economic impact, which was not pull a number out of the sky, that was done by Visit Tucson, for last year with the hotel rooms, meals, stuff like that, was $1.5 million. Now, we don't expect the same here, but if we can get 5,000-6,000 people, and we have 15,000 people,
A little bit helps.
It'll take $1 million.
well, you okay.
And our facility and our community and the well-being here is a lot better than Douglas. Don't forget that.
Well, we don't want to get in trouble in either city. So as we're standing here, we would agree with you.
Okay.
Douglas last year was sold out. Last year, Douglas, the day of the game, there were no tickets available. And this year, Douglas has 2 days instead of 1.
But did they pre-sell the tickets over there?
Without question.
Yeah. And that's what's going to
That's
happen
the
this year.
most important thing. Yeah, we're gonna announce in a little while. Cricket's going to be involved with us. I know we've talked about the produce companies being involved, but we're going to have ticket outlets that at least 2 weeks before we'll have the opportunity. So citizens can buy them. Again, both sides of the border. And if we need your help in helping to promote it. I think we should be able to. Is there anybody here from Nogales International?
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Okay. So we want to talk to them. They've been very helpful to us over the years, and that's how it works. I mean, it's the gentleman, the councilman. I've had a little practice running teams. I ran the AAA team in Tucson for 15 years, and this is how we do things. We don't want to do things any different because, as you can imagine, the risk is on us. There is no risk on the city of Nogales, and we want to take that risk. We're dependent on ticket sales, and then we sell tickets. You make money in the concession stand. So.
And we're coordinating this with the Chamber of Commerce too to help with the tickets and everything like that.
No, that's what we're talking about already. And Mr. Brown, just to clarify, I've talked to Adrian from Adrian Garcia, that's also involved in the soccer. That we're open to.
Well, here's the president right here, so.
We're open to having.
Okay. So, bienvenido, so you can get yourself organized.
We're just trying to make sure that we don't have competing vendors. That's the main thing.
You guys can they can coordinate that through you, Dr. Ferry.
And we'll consult and assist on ways of doing it with you, for sure. But we could also do fundraising, for organizations. Those organizations would be going out and selling tickets, and then we would give them a share of what they sell. So we're open.
Okay, that's a good deal.
Good to get the Consulado Mexicano involved also. I think it'd be very good to get them involved. The Mexican consulate is here in Nogales. I think it'd be very good.
Yeah.
Did you talk to them?
Yeah, they have been in Tucson, highly involved, and before we have talked to them to be involved in this event too.
I mean, we encourage your ideas, your creativity. You're letting people know that this isn't 1 year. I mean, this is something we want to do on and on and on.
Maybe just as a thing, because I know you run the logistics of baseball. I don't know if this is somebody to throw out the first pitch all the time like that.
Well, the mayor was out last year.
And he threw a strike. He threw a strike.
He even came to Tucson and was
I can
involved.
feed that.
You went to Tucson?
Did I throw a strike?
No. Here he did.
That was the off ball.
Bigger stadium, you got a little more scared with all those seats and everything.
I think if you're the catcher, Dr. Lenon, he'd throw a fastball.
No, if quite honestly, if you
And on target too.
if the council has people that you would like us to recognize, obviously your baseball's very good here. Tell us, tell Francisco, tell myself, and let's put them as part of ceremonies.
Well, maybe we can make recommendations to you, Dr. Felix, to communicate with them. Yes,
I mean, did you tell them the teams that are coming?
no, I don't.
No, not yet. We haven't got to
We
that.
can we'll give you a little sneak peek. It's Hermosillo, Obregon, and Mexicali.
And
So
then
you
we're-
got 2 teams from Sonora.
And then, Mr. Barona, we're also having the 28th, coordinating with OG to have the Nogales team play a selection team from Sonora.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes, sir.
We did it last year, and we want to just part of this
Fiesta will be something that we want to establish also. Having the young talent from Mexico come in and got a game last year. I think Nogales beat the team from Sonora 7-6, something like that. So we're willing to get the revenge.
What division are the Pericos?
That's the summer league in Mexico. So they play during the summer. So it's the in that league they have 16 teams. This league has the better of that league, 8 teams only, and they have a lot of the prospects from Major League Baseball.
Francisco pitched in the Mexican Winter League for 10 years for Hermosillo.
So and the Brewers here.
The reason that
He
Mr.
actually has
Rojas
skill.
mentions because there's a local kid, Alana Garcia. Playing
Alan
Oh, he's playing
Garcia.
with Pericos,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's playing with
He
Pericos.
plays with the Pericos. Yeah, Alan from Nogales. Yeah.
Who's he play with regularly?
I know you have
Well, he
business
played
to
for
do.
San.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. I mean, again,
He did Padres.
please think of this as a partnership.
Yeah.
This isn't a deal. I mean, just that we're doing things. So we want you to be in it with us, okay? And we appreciate what you're doing for us.
So right now,
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
so Mr. Madonna, right now, basically this is to do a partnership for the next 3 years.
Where's the press conference?
It's going to be inside because we know about the weather.
Yeah, it was raining
Yeah.
when we came in.
It's gonna be here, it's gonna be here.
it's gonna be right
Is
here.
Alaska playing for San Diego?
Yeah. The
No.
Padres?
No, ya no.
No.
Pero eso se fue a jugar a México
Oh, con los Pericos.
con los Pericos.
Federico de
That's what we call our guns, Pericos.
That was his brother.
Oh, that was his brother.
Pericos.
So move.
Okay, Mayor, I believe the motion was to approve, made and seconded, correct?
Made
To
and
approve, and I
Call
guess
for the
there was
question.
enough of the call for the question.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I apologize, I know we went through a discussion, I believe, can we please just confirm who made the motion?
I
I made
made
the
the
motion.
No,
On this one.
Maldonado made the.
So the motion was
Councilman,
made by Councilman Maldonado and seconded by Councilman Lucero.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Call for the question. All those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you so much.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No nays, motion carried unanimously. This means adjourned.
See you.